Stuck at home in quarantine. 5 o'clock. Why not have a drink with me?
Hey folks, happy Friday. Good to be with you. Looks like we have, starting things out, Megan and Keith and Emily. Hello, hello, hello. Excited to end the week. And before we get too deep into things, and before we get to our main course, I think I'm going to start things off tonight with a nice 50-50 Amaro shot in order to celebrate the oncoming weekend that we have upon us. So we are going to be making an old-fashioned in a little bit. But before we get to that, I'm going to make myself an appetizer, if you will, of a Ferrari. Now there's some of you know, tradition of 50-50 Amaro shots. Basically, like in the bartending industry, bartenders, it started out, I think, just by, they would call the bartender's handshake would be a shot of Fernet. And then they upped their game over time and started mixing Fernet with different spirits, and then mixing other Amari with different spirits, and you have this whole genre of 50-50 Amaro shots. Many of which I dearly, dearly love. And so, like I said, we're going to do the Ferrari tonight to kick things off, which is 50-50 Fernet Branca and Campari. It's going to be amazing. Just as an amuse-bouche, if you will. Nothing fancy here. If you go into a fancy bar, they'll probably put this on some ice, stir it up, strain it out. But I'm literally just going to pour in an ounce, just under an ounce maybe of each, into a glass. Could have chilled the bottles, I guess, if you wanted it colder. But again, we're not fancy, we're just kicking off the weekend today. Got the Campari. Oh yeah. This is going to be bitter, herbal, menthol, some sweetness. Going to be so good. We'll give it a little mix. And I'm going to give a shout out to my cousin Aileen, who got me this very cool Boston rocks glass. I don't know if you can see it, but it's basically like the city of Boston street map on it. She was very sweet a couple years ago when I was homebound with a broken leg. Not too different from being quarantined, turns out. She was very sweet and sent me this get well gift, which I appreciate. So cheers, Aileen, and everyone out there. Happy Friday. Oh, that's so good. Fernet is definitely an acquired taste, but I have acquired it. So I had a good day today, got some work done. Also took a trip out into the real world, fake world, whatever you want to call it, to do some shopping. Filled up on gas for the first time in over a month. So I went to the gas station at Costco. Gas was $1.35 a gallon. Can you believe that? $1.35. I knew it was dropping. I had not realized it had gotten that low. That was crazy. So yeah, filled up for just under $15. Was able to get the pump to stop at $14.92 in order to celebrate Columbus crossing the ocean blue. And then I hopped into Costco. Costco is totally normal. Got my big pickup. The way I know that I'm ready for vacation is citrus. Look at all these lemons and limes. I'm ready to go for the weekend. For the week. This will hopefully last me a week. The limes especially. I need to figure out like a good limes, like a storage solution where this is probably like a little bit more limes than I have capacity to reasonably use before they go bad, unless I do something about that. So I don't know if people refrigerate their citrus. It's not something I've done. I know Megan had mentioned potentially putting some lemons into the fridge, so don't know about that, but I'm ready to go. The other thing is I feel like once you get like one, you can have one bad line and it might like affect the ones around it. And so maybe I need I need to like identify, contact trace, isolate in order to keep it from infecting the other lines. Maybe that's cutting a little close to home. That's delicious. So yeah, did the Costco thing, got my produce, went to Wegmans for my normal shopping. Like the last time I went about a week and a half ago, they are metering at the door how many people go in and out in order to keep it at a certain capacity. And like last time, the line was about the same length. They waited about 45 minutes to get in. The difference this time is that last week when I was there, they were just waving the Instacart people in without them having to like wait in line or anything. They just like cut right forward. And this time they had a separate line for the Instacart people, but they were making them queue up. So they weren't just like, sending them in, waving them in. I don't know if that's just because there's so many Instacart people that they were taking too many spots from regular shoppers. They're also very strict. They're saying like you can only do one order at a time. If you're an Instacart, you had to show them the order. There are a couple people where there are like two of them. They each had to have a separate order. So I don't know what's going on exactly there with metering the Instacart people, but I thought that was interesting to figure out how to manage that. Would like all Instacart be more or less efficient, and like what are the impacts on regular shoppers, and do they want regular shoppers, and who do they want to incentivize to go into the store, the regular shoppers or the Instacart people? And is that different from a like public health perspective versus just a business perspective? All these questions that I have, I don't know. But here we are. So as I finish my 50-50 Campari and Fernet shot, we are going to make today's cocktail, which is my all-time favorite cocktail, the Old Fashioned. And the way I make my Old Fashioned, I believe it's the perfect drink. So I'm going to make two. I'll make one for my lovely wife Helen, and one for me. One order at a time seems inefficient. Yeah, I don't know why they're doing that with Instacart, the one order at a time thing. I think if you like take that to an extreme and you have some like an Instacart guy going and trying to do 5 orders at once, maybe that's ultimately efficient. I don't know. I don't know what the math is on that. But. Or, once there's like a line of Instacart people, I think you have to try to move the people who are there for Instacart in and out as quickly as possible so that the people who are in line aren't waiting so long. But I agree with you, right? And my vision and dream is that supermarkets just stop having any regular customers in it. And they're just like shut down, and it's all just shoppers, all just Instacart. Everybody orders their groceries online, and I've read actually a little bit about there are some like shuttered. You think like you go to this like place where a supermarket used to be, and it's all boarded up, but nothing new opens there. The parking lots are empty, but it turns out that inside is a fully functioning supermarket. And people, but it's just all for online orders and deliveries. And what that allows you to do is like, one, you can be super efficient because the shoppers know where everything is. You make all of the aisles one way so that traffic is regulated really easily and quickly. You don't have to play the game about like certain things being at eye level in order to be most appealing and all of those other business decisions. It just becomes solely about efficiency, which I think is pretty sweet. I bet they are faster per order than the non-pros. Definitely, if for no other reason that they're incentivized to be. Like there's no value in them dilly-dallying around the store when they want to get multiple done. I don't know too of the. It seemed like they were there weren't like separate shoppers and deliverers. Like I know when I order from Whole Foods through Amazon, which is maybe also through Instacart, I don't know, but when I order through Whole Foods from I think they have shoppers and then deliverers, and they're like different people, and that seems ultimately more efficient. But I feel like these people were just gonna go and shop and then hop in their car and take it to the person, but I don't know. But I agree with you, Keith. All right. So back to the old fashioned. So the original cocktail, as many of you know. Oh, here we go. Here we have a good comment from Megan, who's in the food industry business. That may impact customer choice as far less likely to buy try new products. Totally agree. Would also be interesting to see impact on behavior as far as likelihood of adding indulgent items to cart. Yes, and I've heard people say that, like, oh, like I spend less money when I order my food online, which, you know, is good for consumers but bad for the supermarkets. But yeah, I don't know what the trade-off is there. You don't have to hire cashiers, right? Like, if you like literally have a store that's just people that are like shopping and then putting it into a car to be delivered, and you just like scan as you go. No cashiers, no customer service. Your like standards for like cleanliness can be a little bit different, where like it doesn't matter if the floor is a little dirtier than it used to be. So very interesting, but I agree with that point, Megan. So the original cocktail, which evolved from the punches of the Victorian era, is spirit, bitters, sugar, water. 4 ingredients. In the mid-1800s, that's how we're having it. And you can have really any type of spirit. You could have whiskey, rye, bourbon. You can have gin. You can have vodka. You can have rum, whatever you want. Just a plain old cocktail. And then towards the later 1800s, you have bartenders trying to do all of these crazy things, like add citrus, put in vermouths when those started to come out into the market, sweeten it in different ways, use orgeat syrup, chartreuse, all of these crazy things that people are trying to do to cocktails. And then there are people that are saying, hey, I just want my cocktail the old-fashioned way, with just spirit, sugar, bitters, and water. Water usually being the form of ice, some sort of dilution. And in fact, when you could have like an old-fashioned whiskey cocktail, or any type of old-fashioned cocktail, it could be with whiskey or any other type of spirit. It wasn't necessarily specified to be bourbon or rye like it is today. And in fact, when you I think it's in Wisconsin, when you get an old fashioned, their like standard Wisconsin old fashioned is with brandy, not with whiskey or not with rye. But my perfect drink is a rye old fashioned, which is going to be in these exact proportions right now. And I hope like those folks in the late 1800s who are trying to find some comfort in having an old-fashioned cocktail in the old-fashioned way, that you all find some comfort in a beverage this evening. So we're going to start with some aromatic bitters. I'm using my own homemade beard bitters. You can use Angostura bitters if you don't have beard bitters, but you should really reach out to me for some beard bitters if you don't have beard bitters. And so I'm going to do a heavy kind of 3 dashes there of the beard bitters in these drinks, because I really want this flavor to come through. It has some like sweetness, it has some cinnamoniness, you get allspice. I love these bitters. All right, so you don't want to hide the bitters. I have a heavy hand with my bitters in my old fashioned. Then I'm going to take my simple syrup, and I'm going to measure out a 1/2 ounce of simple syrup in each of these. This is a 1-to-1 standard simple syrup. And you know, this isn't not a sweet drink. This definitely, has a little bit of sweetness to it, which makes it not taste super boozy once we get to the rye, because it has enough sugar to really hold up to it and keep it to be a pretty sweet drink. And then we have my favorite, the Rittenhouse Rye. This is 100 proof, barreled in bond, under U.S. government supervision, according to the label. And we're going to do 2 ounces of this lovely rye. And notice we are, like they would have wanted when they ordered an old-fashioned whiskey cocktail in the 1800s. We're not using any of those fancy shakers or mixing glasses or blenders or anything like that. We're building this right in the glass, as is tradition. And I'm going to take my spoon, and I'm just going to stir each one 6 times. Beautiful. So we have our bitters, we have our sweetener, our sugar, and we have our rye. What are we missing? The 4th ingredient, water, in the form of ice. So I'm just going to grab from the freezer 2 beautiful spheres of ice. A large cube would also do the trick. If you don't have that, you can use some smaller cubes, but the bigger the better, in order to minimize surface area per volume in your ice. So I've got these nice spheres. Sometimes they get a little frozen. There we go. Beautiful. So these are a little tricky to drop in gently, but I'm just going to try to just drop them in there. Very nice. And then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of these beautiful lemons that I got at Costco today and get a nice lemon garnish there. So I'm going to just take a nice peel. Going to express the oils over it. I'm going to rub it along the rim of the glass. I'm going to give it a little smack. And I'm going to lay it right on top. Do the same with the other one. Express. Rub it on the outside. Give it a smack. Lay it up top. And now I'm going to take this and I'm going to give it 2 more stirs. 1, 2. 1, 2. Beautiful. And now the last step I'm going to take is I'm just going to let these sit for 2 minutes before I start drinking. Just going to let them just sit there for 2 minutes. And while we do that, we have some questions in the chat. So Keith says, what was today's ratio again? Hi, Dad. It's clear my dad is in the chat. He's saying hi to everybody one by one. Or I see, okay. He said hi to Zach. Zach said hi to Mr. Kelly. Adrian said hi to Mr. Kelly. And my dad said hi to Adrian. Hello, Tom Kelly. So per Keith's question, today's ratio is 3 strong dashes of beer bitters, ½ an ounce of simple syrup, 1-to-1 simple syrup, 2 ounces of rye. So it's a 4-to-1 spirit to simple syrup ratio. And then we have the ice and the lemon peel. Now we've got a hi Mr. Kelly from Megan, and then a hi Keith from Mr. Kelly. This is a exciting chat activity today. I have these, I haven't driven my car in over a week today, and I have like a slow leak on my 2 passenger side tires. More severe in the front passenger side than in the rear passenger side. And when I fill it up, I usually get a couple weeks on them before it dwindles low again and triggers the low pressure light But anyway, I have an air compressor, so I was able to hook up my air compressor and fill up my tires today with that, which was a success. And I'm debating whether to try to get the tires fixed, which I think since I bought the tires at Costco, they'll do for free, or just get new tires, because I don't know. I don't think I need new tires yet, but I probably will soon. I don't know, but I'll probably take them into Costco and let them take a look, and then they'll probably tell me just to get new tires, and I will, and that'll be fine. I think they're still open. I think when I was at Costco today, I looked at them and they were still operational, so I'll check that out. That'll be one of my projects for next week. All right. So these have been sitting here for 2 minutes. They're ready to go. Helen, are you joining? Well, before I take my sip of this delicious cocktail, I'm gonna see why my dogs are flipping out in the backyard. Come on, come on, come on. Inside. Whew. Dixie's very put upon for some reason. I'm not sure why. And here we go. So you get the lemon right away in the nose, and then just like the you can almost taste the whole drink when you take that first whiff in terms of the sweet and spiciness of the drink. Oh, then you get all of that, you can taste the bitters coming through too with the spiciness, the cinnamon from that. Amazing. This is a drink that will change your life, as I like to say. Question from Zach. Why haven't Bruce and Dixie been featured on the show yet? They spend most of their time outside. I don't think they are concerned with such human endeavors as this, but I'm happy to highlight them for as long as they will sit still. In fact, you can see Bruce there in the background. Brucey, come here. Yeah, there's Bruce. Bruce says hello. And then we've got Dixie over here. Dixie. Yeah. Dixie says hello. Dixie, the bartender, ready to make you a drink. All right. It's about as much as they can tolerate. So there we have it. Hope you all are finishing up your week. And oh, we've got Rachel in the chat. Hey Rachel, hello, hello. We're just about closing up, but I hope everybody has had a good week. I was just actually counting. I think this is the end of week 5. I think this is day 35 of quarantine for me, and it has been an experience. So next up, trying to figure out what break is all about for me on spring break next week. Don't know what that's going to be like, but there we go. Oh, here she is.
Hi.
Hey, would you like an old fashioned?
I'll do a Stephen Fullerson. My drink is empty.
And there you have a new one.
Hello. Thank you. I have another Zoom commitment at 5:30, so I can't.
Well,
I can't
we're
stay
wrapping
too
up
long.
here, but would you like to take a sip of the old fashioned and describe why you like it?
Sure.
Right?
It's just so good.
The perfect drink.
It is the perfect drink. It's like a little bit spicy, a little bit sweet. It doesn't taste anything like alcohol. Like it's not like, it has like a little bit of burniness, but it's not harsh in any way. It's perfect. It's the perfect drink.
The perfect drink. It'll change your life.
Agreed.
It's 5 o'clock. Why not have a drink with me?
Cheers, everyone. Have a great weekend.
Cheers.
See you tomorrow night.